For your project, you'll need inside and outside pattern pieces, grosgrain ribbon, a marker, preferably permanent, embroidery floss, scissors, and 2 coordinating pieces of felt. You'll begin by cutting your fabric pieces. Cut both the outside and the inside pieces out of felt. Trace the template. And then cut the pieces using long, smooth strokes and fabric shears if you have them. The scissors or shears that you use for sewing should be kept separate from scissors that you are using to cut paper. Cutting paper actually dulls scissors. And when it comes to cutting fabric, your scissors are going to need to be extra sharp to do a good job. You'll notice that the inside piece is slightly smaller than the outside piece. You'll be creating a booklet with these 2 pieces that will hold your needles. Here I'm tracing the inside piece again with my marker. As I cut, I'm cutting off most of those marking lines because I don't want them to show in my final product if I can help it. Next, I'm going to cut 18 to 24 inches of embroidery floss. Embroidery floss is thicker than thread that we'll use on our sewing machine. In fact, embroidery floss is made up of 6 individual strands twisted together. Usually this is used for decorative sewing. You'll also need to cut a small strip of grosgrain ribbon. I cut my ribbon 3.5 inches, but that was a mistake. You really need to cut it 2.5 inches. Take your embroidery floss and pick at the end where the strands meet up. You'll want to split it into 2 separate pieces of 3 strands each. Your embroidery floss may want to kind of twist and tangle as you do this. It helps to get a buddy to hold the other end as you split it. You'll use both ends or both strands of 3, so hold on to them until later. Snip the edge so that it is crisp and lick your fingers. With those licked fingers, touch the edge to pinch all 3 strands together. Now you'll take an embroidery needle and slip those 3 strands into it. An embroidery needle has a slightly larger eye that makes this easier. Don't worry, we have needle threaders if you need additional help. Now watch how I tie the magic knot at the end of our thread. I want both strands of 3 together. I hold them at the edge of the needle by the eye, wrap the thread twice, push it all into my left hand, and drag it to the end. There's my magic knot. Let's do that again. I'm going to clip it off. I'm going to take those 2 even ends, place them with my left hand right above the eye of the needle. Hold it in place. Take the additional thread, wrap it around my needle 2 times, pinch it all into my left hand, and drag it to the end of my thread. There's my magic knot. Trim the end of the thread so that you don't have a big tail. All right, it's time to sew. Center your inside piece over your outside piece and fold in half. Press it down a few times. You're going to want to be able to see that line. I'm going to take the needle and come in from beneath the inside fabric, but not going through the outside fabric just yet. I'm hiding the knot by doing this in between the two pieces. To do a basic running stitch, we're going to do an in and out stitch through both pieces. It might be difficult at first, but you'll get the hang of how this feels. Try to make your stitches as small as possible. In and out. In and out. I'm trying my hardest to keep a straight line along that fold. This is going to be the binding of your book. In and out. In and out. Again, this is called a running stitch. There are lots of different uses for it in the sewing world. It's a good basic stitch that you can practice at home. In and out. In and out. Oh, I'm getting close to the end of my inside piece of fabric. It looks like I have room for one more stitch, and then it's time to knot the end. We have to have a knot at both ends of the thread so that our stitches don't come out. Look at that. When I fold the book, there's that stitched binding. All right, now I'm going to take a little stitch just through that white inner piece of felt. Stitch over the edge, and with that loop I'm going to bring my needle through it one time, then let me show you again. One time through that loop, and the second time is what makes it a knot. Second time through the loop and pull. Look at that knot. My stitches are sure to stay in place. Trim the tail. Oops, I didn't get quite close enough. We want to get close, but not cut the knot. And there you have it. My little needle booklet is structurally complete. But I want to make sure that I remember it's mine every week when I come to Sewing Club. So now it's time to re-thread our needle with that other 3-strand floss. Remember, I licked my fingers and pinched the thread together. Put it through the eye of your needle and double your strands. Take the edges that are matched up with your left hand. Hold them close to the eye of the needle. Then wrap your thread one time, 2 times, put it all in your left hand, and run it down the thread. There you go, magic knot complete. Cut the tail. And now we have our grosgrain ribbon. Now you should probably double check that your grosgrain ribbon fits on your project before writing on it. I did not, and I almost ended up with a mess. You're going to write your name with a permanent marker. I didn't use a permanent marker, and my name started to bleed a little bit. So make sure your permanent marker or your marker is permanent so that it will be a little bit more clear than mine was. Oops, my ribbon's a little long. I need to trim it down. I want it to be slightly shorter front of the book. All right, now I am only stitching through the outside cover. Make sure you've moved that inner piece away from your stitching. Come from underneath with your needle, and you're going to do about a 1/4 inch long stitch. And you're going to do the same stitch, coming up through the same hole, down through the same hole, 3 times. That was my second. Here's my third. And now that ribbon's not moving anywhere. Flip your project over. Bring your needle through those large stitches at the back. You're going to create that same loop that we finished off with on the front when we were doing the running stitch. When you have that loop at the bottom, bring your needle through once, then twice, and pull. There's your knot. Clip the tail. Excellent. Now, tie a knot one more time. Edges by the needle. Wrap it twice, pull it through, clip your tail. This is a really good skill to practice at home if you have some basic sewing supplies. Again, we're going to do that 1/4 inch stitch through only the outer fabric 3 times. 1 stitch, 2 stitches, 3 stitches. Needle through the stitches on the back. Create a loop. Pull your needle through once, then twice. Pull, snip the tail. And your project is complete. A needle booklet that's labeled with your name. Now notice how it's used. Needles are stored in this booklet through the inside piece, just like that. You'll use this tool throughout your time in sewing club and possibly beyond. Happy stitching!